Situation continues to be tense in state's border town of Moreh, with the bodies of two Tamil youths shot dead in Myanmar's Tamu yet to be returned. The entire Moreh town wore a deserted look today, with shops downing shutters and vehicles keeping off roads in protest against the killing of the two youths. Family members and locals are demanding the immediate handing over of the bodies. However, as per the authorities in Tamu district, there is still no positive response from the Myanmar side on the handing over of the bodies. DIG Range 2 Manipur Ningshen Wongam, who arrived in the border town of Moreh today, held a security meet with the CSOs. The meeting was held in the backdrop of the violent protests that broke out in the border town yesterday. DIG Wongnam during the meeting said that Manipur government is in constant touch with Ministry of External Affairs, which has already communicated with the embassy at Yangon. So the situation continues to be tense in state's border town of Moreh, with the bodies of two Tamil youths shot dead in Myanmar's Tamu yet to be returned. The entire Moreh town wore a deserted look today, with shops downing shutters and vehicles keeping off roads in protest against the killing of the two youths. Well, family members and locals are demanding the immediate handing over of the bodies. However, as per authorities in Tamu district, there is still no positive response from the Myanmar side on the handing over of the bodies. DIG Range 2 Manipur Ningshen Wongnam, who arrived in the border town of Moreh today, held a security meet with the CSOs. The meeting was held in the backdrop of the violent protest that broke out in border town yesterday. Well, DIG Wongnam during the meeting said that Manipur government is in constant touch with Ministry of External Affairs, which has already communicated with the embassy at Yangon. Notably, a massive protest had broken out in Moreh on Wednesday, with people demanding the handing over of the bodies of Tamil youths. Angry protesters had gathered near the border, resorting to arson. Protesters gathered near the border pillar 76 near Sunrise Ground in Moreh to stage a massive demonstration, and also resorted to stone pelting and arson. In the wake of the situation, the Tamu district administration has imposed Section 144 in Moreh town, besides issuing an advisory to residents of Moreh and all visitors to the area not to venture into the Myanmar side without proper documents and permits from the concerned authorities. Besides, a tight security has been put in place at the India-Myanmar border currently to ensure there is no further escalation of the situation. All right, our news editor Nabrun Goswami joins us over the phone line to give us an update on the situation that has arisen in Manipur's border town of Moreh. Well, Nabrun, as right now, only the concern by the family members is to get back the body, to get back the mortal remains. And the entire Moreh town wore a deserted look today, with shops downing shutters, vehicles keeping off roads. So situation continues to be tense in Moreh.
Absolutely, Pooja. Situation continues to be tense and volatile. In fact, we are getting inputs that as we speak, there are fresh demonstrations underway in Moreh town, led by the family members and locals demanding the immediate return of bodies from Myanmar. In fact, they are demanding a clarity on the entire issue. They're saying that they have not got any clarity on the entire issue so far. Why is it taking so much time for the bodies, for the mortal remains to be handed over to the families? That is their concern. Earlier in the day, Northeast Person Sharat Chandra, who was camping in Moreh, also spoke to family members of the victims, and even they are waiting anxiously for at least the return of the mortal remains, return of the bodies of the two youths who were shot dead at Tamu in Myanmar. What they have been saying is that there has been no clear response from the authorities so far, authorities in Manipur, as to what is exactly going on, why is it taking so much time for the bodies to be returned. Now, we did witness how the situation had turned violent yesterday in Moreh. We had violent protests along the Indo-Myanmar border near the pillar number 76, border pillar number 76, where people also resorted to stone pelting and arson. There was a lot of anger among the locals. Today, however, has been relatively peaceful. Section 144 has been imposed in Moreh. There were no protests or rallies during the day, but we are getting to learn as of now. Again, fresh demonstrations have erupted. In fact, people are demonstrating. People from the Tamil community, especially in Moreh, are demonstrating outside the office of the Tamil Sangam, demanding a clarity on the situation. Also, what we are getting to know is that there's another meeting going on between the district administration officials, the SP, the DC, the DIG range to Manipur is also attending the meeting. That's what sources are telling us at this moment. Earlier in the day, Northeast I've also spoke to the DIG range to Manipur and also the DC Tengnopal on the status of the return of bodies. What we were told is that there have been several attempts to contact officials on the Myanmar side at Tamu. However, there has not been any clear response as far as the handing over the return of the bodies are concerned. The same answer was given by both the DC and the DIG range to Manipur. So clearly there's a lot of confusion and everything is not clear as far as why is it taking so much time for the Myanmar authorities to hand over the bodies. The incident, of course, took place at least 2 days ago. The report came in day before yesterday. There was violence, protests, widespread protests in Moreh town yesterday. One of the victims was an auto rickshaw driver. The auto rickshaw driver's owners association went for a strike. The local people took out protest rallies. And all they're asking now is the handing over of the mortal remains of the near and dear ones of the two youths. And they are clearly unable to understand why should that take so much time. So there is not much clarity as far as the entire procedure is concerned. It was earlier expected that the bodies will be handed over today. However, that has not happened. What is concerning more for the family members is that the district authorities in Manipur, the district authorities in Tengnopal are also not clear about the entire situation as to why is it taking so much time for the bodies to be handed over. As the DIG informed Northeast Live, they had been trying to get in touch with officials in the Myanmar side, but there has been not much of a positive response so far. So you can understand the condition of the family members who, in the first place, have lost their near and dear ones. 2 young lives lost. That is one. Secondly, now they are struggling to get the bodies back. So that is something which has kept the situation in Moreh volatile. Yes, a meeting, as we learned, is going on right now. There are fresh demonstrations. Family members are angry. They wouldn't go home without getting clarity of things. And so we have to wait and watch how things unfold, Pooja. But as of now, not much is known as to when the bodies will be handed over. And there are certain ominous signs also. Family members have mentioned about certain media reports on the Myanmar side. We are not going into much that at the moment. That is very sensitive information. But yes, the family members are very concerned. They want the mortal remains returned. They want the mortal remains of the near and dear ones to be handed over at the earliest.
All right. Now, Nabarun, as the situation remains calm today as per the version by the DC, but do you think that after these inputs that the body is not being returned by the Myanmar side, there is a silence from the Myanmar side over the body's return? Now, what do you think? Is there a protest in the offing? Is there a protest that can take place in the near future again?
Definitely, Pooja. Things are still very volatile. People are very emotional. The entire community, the Tamil community and locals are emotional about the entire incident. And it's 2 young lives lost, so emotions are running high. There is tension. Yes, there were no protests today. People were expecting that the bodies may be handed over today. That did not happen. They may soon, run out of patience. But yes, the authorities have been in constant touch. The DC, the SP, they've held meetings with the civil society organizations who have cooperated so far. It is very important to maintain calm because that's a very important border area, and innocence from both sides shouldn't be at the receiving end because of an incident. That's what the authorities have been saying. As the Tamil body in Moreh had submitted a memorandum to Chief Minister N. Biren Singh yesterday to the local ADC, putting forward demands, among which was, of course, the immediate handing over of the bodies and compensation for the families of the deceased. It is also mentioned that if the demands are not met, and if something untoward happens from someone from Myanmar coming to the Moreh side, they would not be, the locals shouldn't be held responsible for it. So yes, situation is very tense right now. It's volatile, and it's very important that people maintain their calm. Innocent people shouldn't suffer because of this situation, and that's why the DIG, the DC, the SP, everyone camping there, constantly interacting with the CSOs, the family members, to ensure that peace is maintained at all costs. Pooja.
All right. Thank you, Nabruna, for giving us those details at this point in time.